right, so welcome to another edition, our first edition of 2014.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, Lunch Out Loud Ottawa. My name is Nick Baczewski.
And I'm Andrew Miller.
And of course, we're the podcast that talks to the people, places, events, and music that make this city the incredible city that it is. And before we get to our special guest, Randy Oikel, the president of the Ottawa Real Estate Board, why don't we check this out?
Hello, music lovers. This is Jeff from the Hornettes. You're about to hear 3 tracks from the EP that we released in June of 2013. They were written by me and recorded by the lovely Hornettes. We encourage you to check out our Facebook and Twitter pages to stay tuned to upcoming events that we will be participating in and hosting in 2014. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Tell you that your love is my drug. Your love is my drug. Your love is my drug. Your love is my drug.
All right, so that was an awesome song. Great group. A little longer this time. I wanted to go a minute and a half because that's a great song.
Favoritism, Nick. Come on.
High on Love from the Hornettes. And they played at the Black Sheep Inn in Wakefield on New Year's. And they also played at Blues Fest last year. Hopefully they play again. It's crazy that we missed them this time around when we did the Blues Fest songs. Anyways, we're here with Randy Oikel, which is great for me and Andrew because we're in this industry. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thanks for having me here.
The brand new president.
Brand spanking new, yes. Just started my term in the at our AGM in December is when I got sworn in as president.
So brand new. How any flames yet? Any craziness yet that you've had to
nothing's
uncover?
going down in flames yet. It might take me a little bit longer to
before that starts.
And
hopefully not.
Hopefully not. No.
Hopefully it's smooth transitioning. How long have you been in the real estate industry?
I've been in the industry actually for not quite 20 years, about 18, 19 years now. So I started as a salesperson back in the early 90s. I was also practicing law at that time, and worked in the industry for a few years. But then I went to the Real Estate Council of Ontario and worked with RICO for 5 years. And then came back into the industry as a manager.
As a manager, not as a salesperson.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Is there a role as a manager? Do you do any sales in the managerial role?
Some managers do. I don't. I just have too many other things that keep me busy. I don't have time to be.
So then you don't have to hold a license in the role that you're in now, a real estate license.
I do. I have a broker. I have a broker's license, and I would need that for the board as well, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. But you never know.
Wonderful. So what led you from going from law school into the world of real estate?
A hatred of family law, essentially.
Torts?
No, actually, there's a... When I graduated law school, it was it was a timing thing. There wasn't a lot of the type of law that I wanted to practice, or that I thought I wanted to practice, business law, primarily. but there was a lot of family law, and I started to get known as a family law lawyer. But I really had a real distaste for practicing family law, and chose to pursue the real estate path instead. So
Well, you seem like a pretty upbeat attitude, a pretty positive attitude towards it. I think family law would be a little bit, I would assume you'd be dealing with a lot of divorces and things like that. Something that's not so positive.
It's definitely not positive, and it's one of those strange professions where you could do the best possible job for your client, and they're not happy at the end of the day because it's such a distasteful process for anybody to go through, especially if they have kids involved in it. It's just not pleasant.
Yeah, you didn't get much satisfaction, I guess, out of that.
No, absolutely not.
But of course, I have the utmost respect for those who do go into that profession and do love it, because it is something that is needed. So,
it's not that there is definitely a need for it, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do personally. So.
Wow. So, how have you always been living in Ottawa? Ottawa, born and raised?
I've lived in the Ottawa area since I was very young. So I actually grew up just south of Ottawa, between Osgood and Metcalfe.
Right on.
So that's where I grew up. But been in Ottawa ever since.
Did you go to university here, law school?
I went to Carleton actually first for a criminology degree, and then I went to law school at Ottawa U.
Oh, wonderful.
That's good. So what are some things that have kept you here in Ottawa, besides the business aspect? I mean, what are some things that you enjoy about the city that's really held you here? Be it, we usually ask people, a couple of favorite restaurants, perhaps. I mean, we're located down in Wellington Village here. There are a couple of favorites that you have nearby, or?
Well, a couple different questions there. I guess what's kept me here is mostly relationships, right? You have family, and then marriage and kids, and those things sort of ground you in a particular area once you get settled. But the Ottawa area it's a beautiful city to live in. From a real estate perspective, you guys know it's very, very stable marketplace. We don't have wild fluctuations that a lot of our sister cities across the country have. It's very, very good, solid market here year to year. And in terms of restaurants, there's quite a number, I guess. I like the side door down in the market. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've ever been there, but
absolutely.
It's very good. 18 as well. We're just around the corner from there. Play, been there a couple times. Like Play. In terms of in this neighborhood, there's Petit Bill's Bistro just up the street, which is
a really good one,
quite good. And then there's the name is just escaping me. It's upstairs. You have to go upstairs. It's like
the Gastropub.
Gastropub, yes.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, some of the favorites from everyone. You must like it that you're nice walking distance too now from your office to other ones like the Hintonburg Public House. I don't know if you've been there yet. The owners of Whalesbone took over the old Elmville Tavern. Really good stuff there too.
And so you've seen many changes as well in this area as well, doing 18 years.
Well, yeah, this area has changed dramatically. The past couple of weeks I haven't wanted to walk too far. But,
it's been a little chilly,
But this area around here at Westboro has definitely been a huge, an area of huge change over the last decade or so. So it's really, really sort of grown into a niche kind of neighborhood where people want to just come and hang out sometimes.
Yeah, it's great. It's great for also tourism, because instead of just the market all the time or Elgin Street, people are starting to discover the other hidden pockets of Ottawa, which is great.
Yeah,
which is what we're trying to get out here as well.
Right, Ottawa is becoming much more of a metropolitan kind of city than its reputation before, or what people knew us for before. It's become a lot more diverse, and like you say, there's more neighborhoods that people can visit and entertain themselves in.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any favorite kind of area of Ottawa that gets you excited any time? Well, I guess you don't show clients anymore that are out there, but any favorite neighborhood that you love in the city?
Well, I guess there's neighborhoods that I like for different reasons. This neighborhood here and Westboro I love just for the sort of vibe that you get there. It's in a way, it's like the Glebe, but it's different. Glebe is another great neighborhood just for walking around. The market, everybody loves the market. I spent a lot of time on Elgin Street before, but there's been some changes on Elgin as well. But the character of Elgin has sort of remained. And then the suburbs are great for families. Barhaven's changed dramatically. It's become its own little center. Canada certainly has had that for a while. Orleans as well. So there's areas of the city for everybody. I think at this point, there's nobody could come here and not find some place that they're comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you've heard it. Not one bad area of the city of Ottawa.
Yeah,
that's great.
for sure. Something for everybody. Yeah.
So I guess we'll talk a little bit about being president of the Ottawa Real Estate Board. What led you towards being the role of president? And, well, what do you do as role of president?
Good question. The president is first a director of the Ottawa Real Estate Board. So the board has 12 directors plus the past president that sit on the board of directors. And then to be president, you're elected by the directors. So it's not an open election to the membership. Okay. The way our bylaws are structured at the Ottawa Real Estate Board is the president is elected by the members, the directors that sit around the table. For myself, I've always been involved in the industry, and I try to take a leadership role as much as I can in whatever I do. A number of the other directors that were at the table asked me if I would consider running for president. The timing was right for me, both from a business and personal standpoint. So I threw my name in the mix, and after a couple of rounds of voting, I was elected. So
how many people were in the vote and they put their name towards it?
When I ran, there was five of us. So you go through a series of ballots, process of elimination, and fortunately for me, I was elected.
Did you go based on your previous resume, or did you come forward with ideas to bring the OREB into the future?
It's an interesting process, really. You don't put forward much of a platform.
Okay.
First of all, the way we operate, you only have a very short time to put forward your either your history or your views when you're in that election process. So there's no large platform that a president would put forward, and that's partially because of the way we operate at the board. We try to do everything as a board, as a unit, as opposed to an individual such as the president having a bigger role. The role that is bigger for the president is things like this: media interviews, sort of the public face, I guess, of the board. But in terms of decisions about the direction of the board, those are made by the board of directors as a unit.
Oh, okay.
So what are some recent changes that the board has presented in the previous year or 2 years that the public might not know about that they should?
Well, the board primarily is concerned with the membership. So what we do that the public has the most involvement in is MLS. So we try to have a very sound MLS system for the public, so that the data that we're presenting, the information that is on our MLS system is accurate and it's current and meaningful to people who are looking to buy or sell homes. They can rely on the information that's there for what's available for sale, what has sold before, and have a good idea of market value. So that's our primary responsibility with respect to the public, is ensuring the integrity of that system. In terms of membership, we've entered into a new electronic lockbox agreement. So there are new electronic lockboxes that are available for people to have on their listings. One of the biggest changes that we've had is our executive officer Carol Millette was with the board for over 30 years,
Wow.
has just retired. So she retired at the end of December, well, January 2nd, actually, she retired. So we have a new incoming CEO who hasn't started yet. She'll be starting at the end of January.
Incoming CEO of.
Of the Ottawa Real Estate Board.
Okay.
So that's a huge change for us. You know,
Yeah.
Carol was there for so long that we're losing a lot of history and a lot of knowledge with her departure. But we're excited about the incoming CEO.
Do you know much about the incoming CEO? Did she run on a platform? Like, what is
Yeah,
she gonna be
we had
doing
an
for the
extensive
Ottawa Real Estate?
process for hiring. So we hired outside consultants to help us with the process. We had a lot of applicants. We narrowed it down. We had a series of interviews, and she was a successful candidate. She has a similar job now in Kelowna at the real estate board there.
Lovely city. Number one
Very,
rankings in,
very lovely
CHL.
city. Smaller board though, so this is a
Yeah.
bigger challenge for her, and I guess a progression on her career path. But she's a very strong individual, and we're happy to have her coming to Ottawa.
Very interesting.
I wanted to just touch real quick on the two things that you said that you were looking after for the MLS and the electronic lock boxes. How are the lock boxes? How are those going over? I know when we first implemented them, it was a couple of years ago. I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago or 4. Kind of passed my mind, but a lot of people didn't like them to start with. I know then we've since changed them. Are they getting more accepted now from most of the realtors out there, or?
The
Is it 50-50? I seem to notice that there's a lot, but
it's still a bit of a contentious issue for some. The number of listings that we have with electronic lock boxes is sort of in the 30 to 35% range,
Okay.
depending on. We don't monitor those statistics every month, but there is a range in there. So they're not the majority of use. The majority use is still mechanical lock boxes, and you know, the preference, why people choose one or the other, sometimes it's part of their service offering to their client base, that they prefer one over the other. Part of it is a lot of people have a lot of mechanical lock boxes and they just don't want to make the change to electronic, and they don't necessarily see the benefit. The latest version has even more benefits than the one we had before in terms of features of the electronic lockbox. Personally, I think they're a great thing to have for clients on listings, but it's a personal choice, and it's part of each member's service offering to their client base.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think they're great just security-wise. I mean, anybody, you can have a client that you might have been working with not so long, and they might catch you, see the mechanical code that you punch in another one, then all of a sudden they have the key, whereas the electronic ones, only real estate agents will have that actual code to get in there and whatnot. Okay. So I find for that reason they're better. And when you have deep freezes like we've had recently, some of those mechanical ones don't really work that great when they're frozen.
Yeah,
so that's another
those are good points. But it's some boards have required one or the other, but we've chosen Ottawa to leave the choice up to the membership as to which one they use.
And the MLS system itself, I know that we're going through a change now with the back door, that we're going into a system called Fusion. Is there going to be a change for the general public on MLS.ca, or is it still going to have the same interface that everyone's used to?
The public interface is going to stay pretty much the way. Well, we try to update it as we go along to make it as user-friendly as possible. So we're always looking to make some improvements to our public face of our MLS information so that it's as easily used as possible for consumers, that they can go on there and find the information that they're looking for. In terms of the back-end stuff that our membership uses, we are looking. We are making a change over to Fusion that has started. The old system is still there for people who are accustomed to that and haven't made the change yet. But over time, those things change as well.
And a lot of complaints, or are people accepting of it? Or do you get a lot of comments that you can then implement into that system? Or
No, I haven't heard any complaints myself. Not that, and there may have been a few. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Some people just don't like change, but since the old system,
a lot of people don't like change.
Since the old system is still available, they're not forced into adoption yet. So it's
it's a nice steady changeover. It's good.
All right, so we're going to go right into a quick break with the Hornettes, and we'll be right back with Randy, and we'll talk about the overall state of the Ottawa real estate market. So we'll be right back. This is Nothing But a Song.
Should've seen it coming, but I was too busy loving him to notice he was running around with another girl. Now I've been made a fool of. All I wanted was just to love him, but it wasn't enough. Now I got nothing but a song to sing. It took away everything that ever meant anything. Whoa, whoa, oh. Nothing but a song to sing. It took away everything that ever meant anything. Whoa.
All right, so once again, that was Nothing But a Song by the Hornettes. And we're here with Randy. So we're going to, Randy Oikel, from the president of the Ottawa Real Estate Board. So what was the overall state of the real estate market in Ottawa in 2013? What can you tell us about that?
2013 it turned out to be another solid year in Ottawa. Slow start last spring. The government made some mortgage rule changes that affected some people getting into the marketplace. Some first-time buyers had to change what their plans were, and that made them a little bit nervous. Anytime the government makes changes to mortgage rules, it makes people a little bit nervous and tends to, make
the
people
brakes on everybody,
tap the brakes on what they're doing. So the start last year was a little bit slower. In terms of the overall numbers for the year, just slightly softer than 2012. I think we were down. Hang on a second, I have it here. We were down 3.2% in terms of unit sales from comparing 2012 to 2013. So not a huge difference. If we look over the last number of years, the average number of sales in Ottawa have hovered right around the 14,000 unit level. So
That's good.
Stable market.
very stable.
I once heard that somebody said that Ottawa was voted one of the most stable markets in North America. I don't know if this is true or if
Why? How could it not?
I
be?
mean,
how could it not be?
I agree with this statement, but
I don't know if it was voted, but I think you could compare our stats to any city in North America or almost the world and not find a more stable market.
Yeah.
In over 55 years of stats that we've compiled at the Real Estate Board, there's only been 4 years in that whole time period where there's been a decrease in property values in Ottawa. That's virtually unheard of. In almost 60 years, only 4 have had a decrease.
Well, and this is a big thing. I recently had clients say, "Oh, well, we're not going to buy now because the prices are going to go down." What do you think? I mean, obviously, no one's psychic. Do you foresee prices, going down, be it for homes or condos, either or? What are your thoughts on that?
It's very tough to generalize. I mean, you could be looking at particular type of property that you might be able to say more definitively that you think that there's a possibility that there might be a greater fluctuation with that type of property.
Gotcha.
But in general, in Ottawa, if we look at our history, which is probably the best indicator that we have, the chances of anything happening dramatically in terms of value is not great.
Yeah.
There would have to be something very dramatic happening in our marketplace for things to change dramatically.
Yeah. And I mean, you've seen some ups and downs over the years. I mean, in the mid 90s, in a couple of years after I guess you would have started in real estate, there was a bit of slow times, right?
Well, it was very slow in the mid '90s, and that was one of the times where we did have a drop in values. I don't remember the exact year, but 94, 95, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But that didn't last. We had the technology meltdown right around 2000, 2001. Everybody was predicting. The predictors were predicting that the market was going to tumble, and the exact opposite happened. We had unprecedented growth over that decade. So it's very tough to predict what's going to happen in the future in terms of values. But if we look at our history, there hasn't been any wide swings.
That's good.
Good
to know.
We're going to see a lot of new condos become complete, and people start moving in the coming months. So I see that as being one of the. It's going to be a very interesting indication of where we're going to go in the future with regards to condo construction. I know there's a lot that are announced, but they're not necessarily going to be built. Absolutely, like there's a lot of. They're just getting in their plans and getting them confirmed. Do you see that as a very interesting part of this year and your reign as a board? I guess that's not going to be a major aspect of your board, but...
Well, yeah, since you've been in real estate, there's a lot more condos these days, right?
Yes, and that's part of Ottawa becoming more of a, if I can say, a grown-up city. Major cities across North America tend to have a lot of condos, and we're gotten to a point where we had a lot of condo development over the last number of the years. It's one of the things that people have to be a little bit careful with when they're looking at property values. If you separate the condo segment, because we have to be aware of what kind of condos are being built and coming on the market. Because we have a lot of more reasonably priced condos, if I can say that, coming onto the market, it might look like condo values would be dropping, but it might just be the fact that the units that are being sold are units that are more price sensitive or priced lower than what the previous average had been.
Well, and they are building them smaller, right? So if you look at a dollar per square foot, realistically, the units, the prices, like you said, they may look a little lower, but you're also getting a little bit smaller of a unit. So.
Right. We at the board we've developed this in the past year, a home price index. So one of the things that people are going to be able to do moving forward, as we complete the data analysis and make it available, they'll be able to compare units to units, or if you're looking at a residential bungalow, for example, to a residential bungalow, and see that value change year over year or over time, so that you're not dealing with the total generics of stats. You're dealing with a particular type of property class versus a particular type of property class, and it just provides a better source of information for consumers and for our membership. Yeah, just absolutely. Like the consumer price index does for things like gasoline or food or that kind of stuff.
That's going to be interesting. That's going to be on MLS possibly, like right on it?
Yeah,
perfect. What's your thoughts on the creation of the arm's length oversight body called the Condominium Office? And that's what it's going to be called. And the introduction of licensing and mandatory qualifications for condo managers. I see that as going to be a hot topic going forward in the future.
Well, condo living has become more popular. We were just talking about that here in Ottawa. Definitely in other centres like Toronto, there's a huge number of condos that exist there, and a lot of people live in condos. I think it's, in general, people should have a say for the development of or changes to the condominium that they live in, and what's going on with their condo fees and things like that. So I don't know a lot about this new legislation that's coming in that's going to create this body, but the concept to me sounds beneficial to condo owners.
I think so.
Yeah,
totally.
Sure.
And then just a couple more things that are in your industry. The electronic signatures, is that complete yet?
I'm pretty sure it's ready. I don't
That's
know.
in that because we had.
It's the legislation has been passed, but they are working on the regulations.
Okay.
So it's not effective yet. So for agreements on purchase and sale in Ontario, they must still be signed on paper.
Yeah.
But that will change once the government finishes the regulations as to how the electronic signatures are going to be accepted in Ontario.
Well, hopefully, sooner than later.
Yeah,
Because,
absolutely. We're definitely
Because
make
we're
people's
lagging
lives
behind
a lot-
on that. Make people's
yeah.
lives quicker and
Because it's already in the States, right?
A number of states have
Because I'm pretty sure I
electronic
get
signatures.
emails already from companies in the States that promote it all the time. And
Some Canadian provinces have it.
Oh, okay.
BC, I believe, has it, and I think Alberta does as well. So it does exist.
Just better for the
here.
client.
It's coming in Ontario. They just haven't finished the regulations yet.
the red tape.
That's it.
And finally, before we go, your thoughts on, or what you can tell more about the benefits of choosing a realtor versus for sale by owners. I know Grapevine is making a major push in the city this coming year with different forums and stuff that people can go to. And why should people choose the realtors when they're buying and selling homes?
Well, I think the biggest thing for consumers is that they have choice. So they have a choice of whether or not they want to hire a realtor or whether or not they don't. And then amongst the options for realtors, they have a lot of choice. They have different companies, different service offerings, different levels of service that each will provide, different fees that each will charge. So they have a huge breadth of choice that's available to them as consumers. And maybe they're not aware of all those choices that do exist for them. What they're getting with a realtor is they're getting professional. They're getting somebody who's licensed and regulated by the province, someone who has to abide by a code of ethics, someone that has to deliver what they say they're going to deliver and provide a level of service that they're committing themselves to. They're hiring essentially a professional to help them with their buying or selling choices. And for my part, I think it's the way to go. But as I said, consumers have a choice.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
Sure. I mean, you can sit at home and cut your own hair if you like, but hey, there are professionals out there to do it for you too, right?
It works for cutting hair might work for some of us who are a little follically challenged like myself. But in terms of your largest investment, it's not the way that I would choose to go myself, and it's not what I would recommend to.
Also, real quick, how do you see the real estate market coming in 2014, either on a quarterly basis or a year as a whole, compared to 2013?
It's always tough to look into the future and make predictions.
Well, we'd all be rich if we knew exactly.
Yeah,
but
exactly. But there's no if I can say warning signs that should make people afraid right now. Economy in Ottawa is very stable. Our history is extremely stable. There's not a huge fluctuation in price that's happened over the last, especially the last year. Residential homes, property values went up a few percent. Condos, pretty stable. So there's nothing out there that's a huge red flag for people. Yeah. Lots of inventory on the market right now. It's a great time for people to be out looking, even though it's cold. Get out and
get
look at some
deals
homes
out there right now.
Look at condos.
Yeah.
And Mayor Jim Watson announced that he's going to be running for mayor again. I guess
Perfect.
Everybody knew that. He said that today, and he's going to keep property taxes at the same or lower going forward. That's his commitment
Let's go
again
lower.
this year. Let's go lower. But then again, where are you cutting it from different services?
That's true.
You still have to have services in.
And I think with our
Essential
market
services.
looking into the future, it's important for people to realize when you hear things on the media, they usually generalize as the Canadian market as a whole. Ottawa is much more stable than some of the other markets they may be talking about, so don't let them scare you.
Yeah, the media typically look at things nationally to start with, and often they're citing economists that don't even live in our country. Yeah. I've seen media reports and followed up on some of the economic indicators that they're looking at, and their sole basis for saying there's going to be a crash in Canada is that was a crash in in the States. There was a crash in Ireland, so it must have to happen here as well. Real estate is
The
local.
IMF reports.
Yeah.
But we took preventative measures as soon as the states started fluctuating. I think back in 2008, pretty much, we started tightening up our mortgage regulations a lot more as soon as we saw it kind of happen. Like we eliminated the 40-year mortgage and then the 30-year.
Amortization. Well, that was introduced around 2008, so it came out. They stopped it around 2009.
And the no money down mortgages, we got rid of that sort of thing. And
The reality is we had a much better banking system to begin with, and that's why
that's good.
Our banking system didn't crash the way that
Yeah.
the American banking system did.
Very good. Yeah.
Perfect.
But anyways, thanks so much, Randy, for
Yeah, thank
joining
you.
us. It was an absolute pleasure, and I hope a lot of people are listening and are not concerned, and tell their friends and family to buy and sell homes.
Get out there and buy and sell.
With Call a Realtor.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Events this weekend? Any major events for you? Skating on the canal? Figure skating championships?
Is it already?
My kids have hockey, so that pretty much dominates a lot of my weekend time.
What
so.
team are they?
They're both they both play in Canada. And,
Canada.
Yeah.
Is that, what's the name? I
One's
heard them
Pee
on
Wee and
CNC.
one's Bantam. So.
Were they in the Capital Cup?
No, they're the thing with the Capital Cup is they can only take so many local teams because they take so many teams from outside. So we weren't in the Capital Cup this year, but
Darn.
All right, on.
Oh, Friday. Well, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of concerts, a
things.
lot of art shows.
The figure skating championships that
That's
you
right.
just said.
Are
yeah.
you participating this year?
Not this year. As much as my skating could use some work, I think I'll just stick to hockey.
Well, figure skating is one of the most popular things in the Olympics, and I think Canada is going to do some good. Patrick Chen, I think that's his name. Yeah, he's going to be skating this weekend. That's going to be a lot of fun. You got Brendan Cannon from Broken Social Scene playing at Safe Odds. That's a lot of fun. Another poetry slam, Urban Legends at Carleton. That's pretty exciting. Saturday, of course, Electric Powwow.
Yep.
At Babylon, you got the Ottawa Health and Wellness Expo at Shankman Arts Center. That was packed last year, so
Where's
I
that?
can only expect
Shankman
Arts Center is in Orleans,
Oh, okay.
right in that major square near the mall.
Perfect.
That's basically all I have.
Yeah, that's it too. I think
We
it's a
got
little
football.
bit of a lull. Football.
Well, that's the biggest weekend of
playoffs.
football of the year, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. Next week we have Lon from Big Rig.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Hear
our
about-
first brewmaster. We've had a couple of different breweries on the show, but this will be the first talk with the brewmaster himself.
Maybe I'll leave the mortgage industry and start making beer after this.
I think brewmaster is a title a lot of guys would have liked to have when they were younger.
That'll be a lot of fun. Anyways, we're going to leave you with one last song. This is Jealousy from the Hornettes. Have a great week, everyone.
Take care.
Saw his face in a photograph. His ex-lover had taken, unless I am mistaken. Pretty little thing sitting on his lap. Was he trying to make me jealous like all those other fellas? Seems like I just can't see who you want me to be. When I'm dead, you don't care anyway. But you're gone all the time, anyways, on my mind. Oh, I can't go on living this way. Jealousy is killing me. Why can't you see what you're doing to me? Jealousy is killing me. Guess I can't keep on waiting for you to hear my plea. jealousy is killing me. Why can't you see what you're doing?